and as you saw in the piece, Canada Fights Human Trafficking is an anti-trafficking organization dedicated to the annihilation of all crimes associated with human trafficking. Its founder, Naomi Baker, joins us now on the couch. Naomi, welcome to Full Circle.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and I want to add something here. It comes at a cost because, and this was very enlightening for me to do this story, to see these people on the front lines, what they have to look at, what the stories you have to hear, the heartbreak you are constantly hearing and seeing. You know, it's such a hidden crime, but you really are seeing it as it is. And that comes at a cost.
Really, anytime we talk about something as heinous as human trafficking, you relive these stories. And when you're talking about a 3-year-old, a 23-year-old, even if it was a 53-year-old, there's nothing nice about it.
We're looking into the face of evil. Really. And in Canada, 120 million to 400 million per year. Is that right? Is that
Yeah, they have statistics that change frequently because it's such a hard thing to pinpoint. Yes.
Naomi, how did you get involved in this work? I mean, this, like Denise is saying, this is a great cost, and it takes courage. And a lot of us want to be like, let someone else do it. I don't want to get involved in the mess of the evil. How did you begin? How did this start?
It's a big question. I'll try and answer succinctly. There's an organization entitled Pearl Alliance. John Bevere's wife, Lisa Bevere.
we know her.
Lisa's been with us several times.
Yeah, so I originally started working with Austin, her son, and trying to bring awareness and fundraising. Then I in turn found out how involved Canada is, and that basically North America is one of the largest reasons for human trafficking or demand for human trafficking. Then you start to get a little more into it and realize how big it is that there was not any organization dedicated to fighting human trafficking. Being in the position that I'm in with my profession, I was in the position to do something. And as a Christian, a lot of people declare Christianity, but they say they give their lives to the Lord. I actually meant it. So if He wants me to do something about human trafficking, yes, sir.
So what you're actually doing, though, is really, you know, when I interviewed the police, they said, you know, we're dealing with this, and we have the resources. I mean, they're really out there to get the predators, not to deal with the victims. So they need people to come alongside and take these victims under their wings and just even the basic necessities. Most of these girls, you know, this is like, we kind of have pictures of what the life of a stripper or a sex worker is like, that they have all of these great things. You know, they come with the clothes on their back and that's it. They usually don't have any of the money. They don't get any of the money that they earn. And so they have nothing. They literally come to the police station with nothing. And the police, you know, they don't have the resources to take care of them from that point on. And so what Naomi does in her organization is really that very crucial next step for that victim.
That's right. Our goal is to work with the police, with government agencies, so that they can do their job. We get the pleasure of taking victims of all ages and getting them back on their feet on whatever level that takes. And as awful as that is, it's fantastic at the same time to be able to work with police and actually see change in our nation.
You're reaching out to all of us. I love your mission statement, to unite Canadians in protecting our children, our integrity, and our future as a country of mercy.
And it would be absolutely pointless to be doing this story if we do not do something about it. You know, this isn't just to say, oh, well, isn't that horrible? We have this big sex industry in our country and people are being enslaved. Isn't that horrible? And oh, the wickedness, it's all everywhere. No, that's not good enough. We got to do something about it. And there are several ways, and that's one of the reasons that Naomi is joining us today, is because there are ways that each one of us can do something about this issue.
And the need is there, because in your website I was reading that the country's broken down the minimum sentencing for someone convicted of this. I think we've got a page. This is enlightening. Look at this. Minimum sentencings for trafficking a minor. USA 10 years, India 7 years, Thailand 5 years, Canada 0.
That's disgusting. Actually, that's
there
really
is no minimum sentence for this. And so this is one of the things, Denise, that Joyce Smith is rallying behind.
And so let me just say there is something we can all do as Canadians, as citizens of this country. you can write to your senator. There's no postage required. All it requires is for you to just say, this is not okay with me. I support Bill C-268. I support there being a minimum sentence for trafficking of children. You got to remember this is 18 and under. And if you go to Joy Smith's website, it's all laid out there. She even has petitions that you can print off, get your community members to sign. She will give you other instructions on how you can even make examples of what to say in your letter. There are so many things we can do. I mean, how long does it take to send a letter? And the more pressure we put on this, I mean, it is at such a crucial point. We are in February now. March is coming up. Parliament is reconvening. The Senate will be reconvening. And there's a window of time we have to take advantage of right now. And if senators know that Canadians care about this issue, that will get things moving. And we don't want to have to wait another 4 or 5 years for this bill to come back. And for us, and in the meantime, traffickers just get away with really murder in a sense, because they're taking away something so precious of that victim. Trust, innocence, and just the opportunity and freedom. You know, this is what we are about. So I'm just encouraging people to go to joysmith.ca, get involved in this issue. Don't just, you know, say, oh, isn't that horrible? Do something.
And it's important to point out that this is not a political issue. This crosses party lines. This is a human rights issue. And this is something that we as Canadians need to rise up and say, like you said, this is not okay with me, and we can do something about it.
You know, I love the time.
I just want to be clear, though, that the minimum sentence would be 5 or maybe 6 years. It would be 5 years minimum sentence.
Yeah.
So if we write and rally, what we would do is say, for anybody who has done, the perpetrator will get a 5-year minum sentence in jail.
So, for example, that Imani Nikpeni, who was the first convicted child trafficker, he would have had a higher sentence for what he did.
And not only is that punitive, but it's also, it gives the victim a chance to feel safe and say, okay, this person is put away, they're not going to hurt me again, and I can begin a life.
Exactly, it's a message to people, say, don't mess with this. You know, there will be a sentencing and you'll go to jail.
And there's that window, another precious window of time between, you know, when a woman finally comes forward, and that takes so much courage to come forward. There's that window that she'll be separated from that person who did this to her. That will give her time to get back on her feet, right, Naomi?
And that's the work that Naomi would be doing.
And I love the timeliness that we've been waving our Canadian flag, and it was our founder who reminded us this week that ours is the only flag with a leaf on it. Naomi, your logo is very significant. I don't know if we have a picture of it. I didn't ask ahead of time. Canada Fights Human Trafficking has a maple leaf in it. And as we look to Revelation 22 and we read about the tree of life, it says the leaves are for the healing of the nations. That's something we've kind of like to own here in Canada from a biblical perspective, that we have the opportunity to be a model of what are we going to do about human trafficking.
Yes, absolutely.
And you are seeing healing possible. Tell me just briefly about some of the healing you're seeing in these victims.
I don't know how to answer that briefly. We are seeing lives changed.
But these girls are getting back.
They are, most commonly, victims will return to trafficking because that's all they know and they can make a lot of money very quickly. We are seeing that cycle stopped.
And we have to realize it's not just masses and with faceless people. Like, we have to look into the eyes of children and women and boys and say, these are human beings that God loves, you know, that have opportunity and a hope for a future. We can't write people off. I think sometimes we tend to go, oh, it's a big problem, it's just masses of people. But we have to look at the individual and say they are valued and are loved, and I think we need to do that.
And Naomi, your website is very enlightening. It's very informative, a lot of information there. And I just want to give it one more time, CanadaFightsHumanTrafficking.com, and there it is at the bottom of the screen. If you want more information on how you can become involved. You know, it doesn't take a lot of your time. You're not signing up for a lifetime commitment to an organization. You're just saying, I am Canadian, and I want my country to be a safe place, not one of those North American hubs that draws in the human trafficking.
And people can also volunteer, right?
Definitely. There's a volunteer form right online. You can fill that out.
I think we need to go Canada in this department.
Yeah, I think we challenge ourselves and all the people watching today to go and get on that petition and get
And
involved.
so it convenes again March
3rd, Parliament reconvenes, and this is so we have this moment in time where we can send a lot of mail
Can we-
or a
can
lot
we-
of
can we
emails
write
to senators.
number
and
of times, Denise?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean,
Okay.
it's you know, we are the people of this nation,
That's right.
and they are our representatives.
And there again is
And
the
our
bill.
voices can be
There's the
heard.
bill again.
Bill
Bill
C-268.
C-268.
JoySmith.ca is all the information. I mean, she has been such a tireless champion of this, and I think, you know, kudos to her for not giving up, because she has faced a lot of hostility on the Hill about this issue, and she's continuing to go for it, and she won't give up, and I know that about her, and so she needs our support too.
Right.
So just, you know, there are so many ways today that we can be a voice, and so I just encourage you to either through volunteering, through donations, whatever it is, find your voice.
And again, this is not about politics.
Absolutely
It's about
not.
human beings.
That's right.
And we need to join together. Well, thank you, Denise. Thank you, for Naomi, for being with us. This has been a very enlightening report.